Welcome back, everyone, to another Chicago Market Makers podcast where we have our guests again joining back, the #1 development company in the entire Chicago area. Okay, welcome back, AK Custom Homes. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thanks, Tyler. That's a great introduction. Appreciate that.
Awesome.
Thank you, Tyler.
Awesome. So today is going to be a little bit of a different episode. I know last time we kind of dove into like the story, the exact tactics of, development and everything, but obviously with the way things are looking so far this year, things are changing in the market, right? Foreclosures are going up, equity's drawing down, going up, who knows? There's things all over the place. So we kind of want to do an episode, kind of dive into a little bit about the current market structure, some things that are happening and how you can adapt to the market to see some greater returns, just like AK Custom Homes over here. And then we're going to do a little bit of a brief overview about how AK Custom Homes last year in 2025 went, as well as what they're doing this year to stay at #1. Ready?
Yep, we're ready.
Awesome. Cool. Well, kind of just, break it down a little bit for me, right? With the market that we're in right now it's March 30th, 31st. Where are we right now? In your own terms, where are we currently in the market?
We're in a very competitive market. One of the most competitive markets I've seen as a developer in over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've offered on several properties this year and have gotten outbidded.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been a very competitive market. A lot of the land sales or teardowns that we look to develop on are getting sold higher than market value, or they're asking price, and it's hard to kind of determine where it's going to go. And so we've lost out on a couple bids, but we've won a couple of bids, and but we're excited about the upcoming year. We've made some adjustments, and we're looking forward to it.
I'd say it's probably the most competitive market when it comes to land.
Really?
Yeah, I think last time we were here, we discussed we were actively looking for land, and we're doing everything we could. We were, and we did, and we were fortunate to get some land, but we really went to the drawing board and did everything we could, and it was very competitive. Some we thought for sure we're gonna get some, but it's very competitive right now.
Yeah.
So.
No, it is 100%. And we're even as well in like the wholesaling space on my end, it's becoming super more competitive as well, which I want to ask, why is it getting more competitive, right? Especially with where things are going, right? The market's all over the place. Why is it getting more competitive?
The stock market's done well, right? The high-end luxury single-family home market, there's not a lot of it out there. With the cost of construction right now and with land going up, it leaves developers in a gray area and they don't really know how to price things out. And I think that's been a challenge for a lot of people. I think that's one of the biggest reasons. There's just not a lot of new construction out there. And it goes back to the old theory, right? Like, it's a supply-demand thing. And there's not a lot of supply, and the demand keeps pending, and it keeps building, and that's causing prices to go up.
Yeah.
I mean, I can add on to that a little bit. Even sellers that we're purchasing land from, they're not they locked into really good interest rates 4 or 5 years ago during COVID.
Yeah.
So they need to see a good return on their investment to make them want to sell their property and have to get a different interest rate than what they got 5 years ago. And whatnot. So I think that has contributed to there being a low supply when it comes to the land right now.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I take it then, just to make sure I have a clear idea, a large reason of it is land is going up, but because we're in this little weird spot where land is going up, things are more competitive, there isn't enough data to support the higher price point homes that theoretically, right, if you're going to buy land at this price, it's going to sell for this amount. Right now, people are buying land for a higher price, and there's really no accurate data to show what it'll sell for afterwards. Is that about right or no?
The data that you're looking for, I think, is you're talking about comparable sales.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the comparable sales now, what sold 6 to 9 months ago, the land sometimes is significantly less. And so really developers are not adding on to the price. They're just looking to make up the difference.
Okay.
Right? Especially on these single family homes. They're looking to make up the difference. I mean, we certainly are.
Yeah.
Right? We're looking to make up the difference. It's not like we're tacking on a higher price on top of that. We're just
when you say the difference, what do you mean? Of like from what it previously sold at like 6 to 9 months ago?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, if a piece of land was selling for X amount, now it might be selling for $200,000 or $300,000 more, right? So it's that difference that developers are adding on to the price to make up the difference.
Got it.
So it's the same margin sometimes for a lot of these developers. It's just a higher price sale. So people who are looking at it from the outside are thinking, well, he's selling a house for this price, so he's making so much more. Well, if you look at the land and then you look at the construction costs, everything pans out.
Yeah. 100%. Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So is there anything specifically that you guys are doing then to adapt to this? Because more competition, more people, all these bids are going up. Are you like structuring the way you build these homes differently to be more competitive? Are you doing strategic acquisition methods to find other types of deals, whether it be like tear downs as well? I don't know what you guys target, but is there anything specific you're doing?
You know, yes, there is. It's interesting that you asked that question because we're actually adding features now.
Okay.
So when the price goes up, now, you know, the consumer's looking at the price and they're expecting a certain type of product, right? So what we're trying to do is, as we've always done, exceed the marketplace.
Yep.
If you're not putting an elevator in a certain neighborhood, we're going to put it in. If you don't see a breezeway on a block, we're going to try to get one approved, right? You know, special small features, cold tubs, smart commodes. What's that?
Wellness rooms.
Wellness rooms, right? Yeah, saunas, bigger wine rooms, nicer appliances, everything. Everything we're trying to upgrade.
Nicer stone.
Yeah, nicer stone for sure. Yeah.
Got it. Do you see, so I noticed how you said like there's specific markets where like if they're not implementing an elevator, you're going to. Do you see as of right now in the kind of the Chicago area, any specific markets that are hot, slow, like slowing down, or do you see any markets on the uptrend as of right now?
We're like the Migos, man. We're always trying to set the trends. You know what I mean? So
okay.
There's the market as far as like Southport Corridor, Lakeview, Lincoln Park. Those are the primary neighborhoods that we develop in. They seem to continue to get stronger, right? When I first started developing, or when we started developing in Lincoln Park, I always heard the market was strong in Lincoln Park, and there was always a small appreciation in that neighborhood, but it was always steady, right?
Yeah.
I've never seen the appreciation that I've seen now in Lincoln Park, right?
Really?
Southport Corridor, I think, is the most undervalued neighborhood in the city. North Center is right behind it.
Okay.
In my opinion, obviously we're partial to North Center. We live here, right? But you know, I think it's undervalued. I think a lot of families want to move into the North Center neighborhood. You got Lane Tech, you got the Bradley Sports Center, you have Wells Park, you have all the amenities that parents who have active kids are looking for, right? You know, there's probably theater and all that kind of stuff that I don't know about, but like I know about the sports and it's all available in the North Center neighborhood. So I think North Center, Lakeview, those are probably the most up and coming neighborhoods, undervalued and are going to grow.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. And, you know, kind of going back a little bit to like the specific land deals, right? Are those, when you say land deals, are those straight just land, or are you guys also incorporating, you know, homes that are already there that you're tearing down and then rebuilding back up again?
Well, in Chicago, there's no really such thing as land deals. When we say land, we mean old buildings that we're going to knock down and build to the ground and build brand new construction.
Got it.
So yeah, we're looking for older houses to knock down.
Okay.
Apartment buildings.
Got it.
Whatever it may be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you're going through that process then of kind of evaluating, specifically when it's becoming more competitive, right? Are you adjusting? So like, do you guys usually have a criteria? For example, right? In wholesaling, if I see a single family home, I know I could do something with it. If I all of a sudden see an insurance company in the middle of nowhere, I can't do anything with that. Now, for you guys, you can more than likely tear down anything. Do you strictly stay to specific types of lots with single-family homes, or do you do commercial units as well, or what are you tearing down, or like what are you looking for specifically?
You know, a lot of times we'll get contacted by somebody that wants to sell, right? And so it's usually, you know, maybe somebody that's retired or somebody that's passed away or something like that, and like the family wants to move on and sell the property. So a lot of times it'll be that situation. Sometimes we'll target a specific neighborhood. We'll look at the property. If it looks vacated, you know, if it's kind of run down, we'll approach and see where we can go from there. But you know, all of our acquisitions are always market value. We've never come up on a property. You know, it's the come up is finding the right opportunity to be able to develop on and then building the right product, and that's where we get the equity. Right.
Got it.
Yeah. The neighborhoods that we build in, these properties are owned sometimes by these families for 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years, right? So they've got a ton of equity in these properties. So we don't really come into across those situations. And personally, honestly, I don't think we want to. We don't want to be in those situations where we're buying properties from people that are in that those kind of situations.
100%.
But yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, some of these people bought the properties 80s. I mean, because whenever we buy a property, I look at the tax records.
Okay.
They bought them 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
They've made great returns on it. They're nowhere near,
you know,
over leveraged on the properties 100%. And whatnot.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, like Azim said, it has to do with what the neighborhoods we're in, Lincoln Park,
Yeah,
corridor.
it is a different.
Those have obviously the last 20, 30 years, whenever they bought it, even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Values have increased
100%.
significantly.
Yeah. No, it's always a climbing neighborhood in a sense. You're not in some random neighborhoods. You're in the most prestigious neighborhoods in Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, kind of going back a little bit then, about just more competitive. Again, I'm going to keep tying back to it because that's a common theme, right? Sure. How was last year, 2025, for AK Custom Homes, right? With it becoming more and more competitive, did you find yourself falling into any specific struggles or adapting at all in your current process?
Look, competitors compete. And competitive markets, competitors are going to get better, right? Guys that really want to compete out here are going to go out and compete, right? We know that in every aspect of life, right? Whether it's the athletics or if it's business, right? Like you want to be around the best and you want the best to push you, right? And we try to be in markets where some of the best developers are developing and they're going to push us to want to kind of always be better than them, right? And so that being said, we're always going to push to compete and have something that we're offering that's different than what you're going to find in the marketplace. We're always looking to have a competitive advantage. And yet sometimes that we've got to be creative to be able to do that, whether it's buying a bigger lot, whether it's offering different features, whether it's offering a service that nobody else is offering. We're going to find a way to compete, or whether it's sitting down with you and being on a podcast and marketing ourselves, right? So 100%. We're always going to do something that's different in the marketplace.
And I think that ties into, we push some values with what Azim said. We were able to push some high values compared to the marketplace. So competitively, we did pretty well last year in that regards.
Gotcha. Yeah. So would you say then a large part of the reason you've been number one Chicago developer, but a key thing is you've stayed number one, is because you continue to keep on competing by finding those advantages that other people, they might see, but they don't jump on right away. While as you're always looking for that next step. And the second you see it, you're going to, like you always told me, when a door opens, you don't walk through it, you run through it.
Bust that motherfucker open.
Exactly.
For sure. Yeah, bust it open.
Yep.
Never sit down at a table they don't want you at, but if they want you and you peek in and they want you in the room, kick that door open.
Yep.
Get in there, right?
100%.
Yep.
100%. So then draw me then, I want to kind of touch on something for the specific audience so that they can understand, right? You've been developing for over 20 years now, right? Most people who get to a point, and whether believe it or not, or even entrepreneurs who develop, fix and flip, wholesale, they don't even last 5 years, 10 years. Right. And especially with the market that we're in now, you're saying it's more competitive than you've ever seen, yet you're still consistently staying at number one. What are some things specifically? I know you're touching on them a little bit, but what are some more things that you're doing to continue to stay at that point, but also now and the past 20 years?
I'll take the first one. Right. I think that, look, we do something that really you don't find many developers doing, right? This is a key point that I want to bring up. We're letting buyers come in and customize finishes. That is not easy, right? Not a lot of developers stay away from that.
Why so?
Well, it's an encumbersome process, right? There's a service that you have to be able to provide with that. You have to be able to facilitate and allow a buyer to be able to choose those finishes, give them the options of those finishes, be patient with them. In terms of being able to choose those finishes,
meet their expectations,
keep them within budgets.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot to be considered, right? Okay. And I think a lot of people want to work with us because we offer some of those options, right? So I think that's probably one of the biggest.
It's a very customizable approach in a sense where it's not like this home is already built, you either love it or you don't. It's like, no, if I'm coming in, I'm going to get exactly what I want with AK Custom Homes.
That's right.
We provide an in-house designer.
Okay. So you have an in-house designer, so I'm assuming they are a part of that design process with the new to be or soon to be homeowner, where they speak with them, kind of touch on the finishes, the facade, all that types of things. And then from there, your job now is just to make it come to life.
That's right. Yeah. We have an in-house designer that holds your hand and walks you through the entire process.
Wow.
So sometimes you walk in and we've already chosen, some of the finishes, and they choose, maybe the lighting, maybe the plumbing, maybe the cabinets have already been selected and they want to change the cabinets to a different color. Okay, well, we'll facilitate that and we'll paint them.
Yeah.
There's different options that we offer that I think a lot of developers are just not willing to do. Right?
Yeah, and that's why you get the returns that you do, because you're doing what most aren't willing to do.
We're offering a different service for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else specifically that comes to mind? And if not, that's totally fine. That are things that you know are prominent within your guys' business that continue to just keep you to stay at number one? Because again, even in 20 years, people can be successful, but they can fall off. You have continued to climb and climb and climb. What are some, reasonings behind that?
I think another thing is the neighborhoods we build in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has a huge is a huge reason.
Yeah.
I don't think we really got into details on the lots.
Mm-hmm.
We're very we spend a lot of time research whenever we have a potential teardown.
Yeah.
We make sure that we're getting the right lots.
Got it.
Just because it's in the right neighborhood doesn't mean it's the right lot. Whether it's the zoning, because we have a specific type of product we want to build.
Yeah.
We want to make sure the zoning allows for us to do that. The lot size, we want to at least be on a standard lot, if not a wider lot and whatnot. So I think that has a huge reason why we're able to continue to do what we do.
Yeah, I think I add to that. We've got a lot of people in place. We've got a team. We've got a pretty solid team. We've got a number of contractors that are very, very well versed in their trades that we've used for a long time.
Yeah.
Our management is excellent. Our designers special. From top to bottom, we've just got a lot of assistance. We've got a very strong team, guys that have worked with us for a very long time that we all trust, and we have trust within each other, right?
Yeah.
And I think it allows us to have offer a pretty unique service and efficiency whenever we're building a home.
Yeah, 100%. If you would mind kind of breaking down how your team, not necessarily structured, but like how many people do you have on the construction side of things or the contracting side of things? How many people do you have on management? I know you said you have an in-house designer. What are the kind of pieces within your guys' company that continue to make it grow day in and day out?
I mean, there's over maybe 150 people that end up working on one of our homes, right?
Wow.
But they're all subcontractors, right? So the plumber comes in, he's got 5 guys with him. The painter comes in, he's got 6 guys with him. So, that adds up throughout the entire process. We also have the con group, right? So we own our own brokerage, right? So we list our own homes.
Okay.
So we end up working with brokers in order to be able to find a buyer as well. So it's kind of nice when you're the developer and you're the broker, because this way you're representing yourself and you're being able to represent the product that you built, and you stand by your product, and you're able to make unilateral decisions, right? And so I think from a management perspective, it's essentially Raheem and I who make most of our decisions. But obviously we depend on our general contractor, our architects, our designers when it comes to making final decisions, and we rely on them, and we really need their assistance, because a lot of times we don't know something and we need to kind of come together on it, right? And then and conclude with something that works for all of us, that's going to make sense, because it's great that you have unilateral decisions, but you got to be able to ask the team, right? From so many different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How important would you say, having a team is within AK Customs and the Con Group has been? How important would you say it's been in the past 20 years?
I mean, it's great. It's a great question. At one time, it was kind of just us, and we kind of did everything on our own. I mean, there was a time when I was running around with buyers and helping them choose finishes and taking them to a tile place and the cabinet place, right? It takes starting the process and being a part of every process to understand how the business works. And that's when you can have others come in and provide those services, because you know how those services need to be in order to be efficient and to be able to offer the service the right way, right? And I think that's a part of how we got to where we got to, because we didn't have all of those teams in place in the very beginning. First of all, we couldn't afford it. And second of all, it took time. Right? It took time to build those processes.
Yeah, you didn't just start out and just say, oh, I'm just going to buy a whole team and then it's just going to magically happen. You went through all of it yourself, went through all the grit, showings, whatever it is, did all the dirty work yourself, and then slowly from there ended up delegating it and implementing teams in place to provide a larger service to more people at an even better service price.
AK Custom Homes did not get to where it's at overnight. It took a long time, and we were patient, right? And it's always the old concept, right?
Okay, so that was 2025, right? And I know we might have touched a little bit about what we're going to be doing moving forward, but 2026, I know we're already a month or two in now, but what are some things we're looking to do 2026 with this market continuing to compete? Are we going to be, doing anything differently, opening new things, closing things out? What are the plans for 2026?
Without giving all the secrets away?
Without giving all the secrets, but as much as you can.
You want to go first?
I mean, we're going to be building on one of the most premier blocks in Lincoln Park. And it's a block that is really going to be able to showcase like a really high and high level finished home.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about that. Because it's unique and it's new and it's going to challenge us, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have to, compete with some competitors that are really going to make us step it up.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of exciting.
Of course.
But that'll just come down to finishes, right? We're going to offer some finishes in that house that you don't find in some other homes, right? So we'll upgrade, and we'll throw in some things that people are just not doing. That's one thing.
Okay.
Right.
Getting more land.
More land.
Yeah.
Of course.
We want to keep, like, I don't know if you remember the last podcast. We're just going to keep on building.
Yeah. No matter
So
what.
we want to
Good, bad.
Yeah. Good, bad, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
We want to get more land.
Okay. I got it. So we're getting more land and continuing to, as always, just do things other people won't, even if it's stepping into other different areas of higher desired, specific blocks and implementing those features. Now, what happens if, we continue to go into 2026 and market conditions shift, whether it becomes even more competitive or what if it becomes less competitive? Are those things going to change at all? Or are you guys going to add anything differently, or what happens then?
If the market, once we build a standard and we start exceeding a standard, we're never going to step it down. We're always going to stay.
Yeah.
We're always going to keep our standard, right? I think that's what differentiates us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not scaling back when it comes to our quality, ever.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've even built in neighborhoods where they're not expecting certain features or finishes, and we still offer them just because that's the way to kind of differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I mean, kind of the last thing I want to touch on here is from 20 years of experience, right? And I kind of want this to kind of go to the audience, but to me as well. When you're in times of things are getting more competitive, right? Things are shifting, right? It's super easy to get accustomed to one specific process and just let it ride. And all of a sudden when things change, it's like, oh no, what happens? In your experience though, when things like this in the market become more competitive, things shift and all of a sudden now your process has to change. What are some key points you always fall back on to continue to keep on going and always keep on improving when things can get disrupted like this?
I mean, that's a great question. I think it's no different than what I teach my kids, right? Like, you might be doing really well, but there's always somebody out there working harder.
Yeah.
There's always somebody that's better. There's always somebody looking to take your job.
Yeah.
Right. On the field.
Yeah.
In the business world, somebody wants to be better than you, right? And somebody is out there working harder, and they got it planned out, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, you got to stay humble. You got to continue to keep working. Even when you think you're working hard, you got to work harder. Even when you're working harder, you got to work even more harder.
Yep.
I mean, the grind doesn't stop, right? Nobody cares how much time you put in,
Yep.
right? The results will show, right, at the end of the day. And that's, I think, a motto that we live by, right, in every aspect of life, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that I try to teach my kids, and I think they abide by that. You know very well, right? And they work really hard, and I like to challenge them and put them in situations that they're going to have to go out and compete, and that's what's going to make you better, right? I think we were raised that way, and that's the only way you get better, right? Never to be comfortable. You got to kind of always be on edge, keep a chip.
Yep.
Keep a chip on your shoulder.
Just keep going.
Right.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I think he hit it perfectly.
Hit it perfectly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of like you guys were saying. It's just like continuing to just always, which it seems so simple, right? Oh, just keep going no matter what. But I mean, what most people don't realize is like when you're doing something, you get so used to a specific process in a market that all of a sudden if something overnight just changes and you're like, wait a second, this is what I'm used to doing. What do I do now? All of a sudden people are surpassing you. You're not getting land deals. And all of a sudden, X, Y, and Z happens. But I just kind of, I like to pick your brain because you guys have proven something to do that works over time that most people can't do.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, and it's not just us, right? It's you watch different industries in different fields and different businesses and different business owners. There's no secret to it. They work harder and they stay on top of things, and you have to be involved with a majority of the process. Otherwise, once things get out of control, it's not easy to fix them, right?
Yeah.
You got to be on top of everything.
100%.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, other than that, I mean, I appreciate you guys hopping on again, right? As always, it's always, a joy to have you guys on, spit some game for the audience and everything. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with, whether, what AK Custom Homes is going to be doing in the future, the Con Group, what to expect, or if they ever want to reach out to you for anything? Do you have anything to say to them?
Yeah, no, I think one thing we would like to offer is that, we're involved with the youth.
Yeah.
We're involved with a lot of community organizations around here. And we'll continue to always be that, because that's something that we really strive on, right? That really matters to us and that we really care about.
Yeah.
So anybody that's watching this, especially some of these younger guys that follow us and know us personally, if they ever have any questions on business, on real estate, or just life in general and how we've navigated the process, we're always available. We're planning on opening up something this coming summer where we're looking to work with the youth and offer them an opportunity to work on some construction sites. And we're still trying to work on that right now. And I'm hoping to roll that out, and there'll be more to come on that. But
that would be amazing.
We want to be a resource to kids, the youth, and anybody else who we can assist. That's really important to us, right? Because we started our business from scratch. And we're fortunate to be where we're at. And we're trying to stay humble and offer our resources to others.
Give back. 100%. Anything, Raheem?
No, I think
No.
Perfect. No.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, so again, like he said there, he's going to try and roll it out this summer. But again, if you guys have any questions, any concerns, any things about developing, right? Maybe you're even somehow watching this and you're looking to maybe buy a custom home, right? You know where to reach out. Reach out to Azim or Raheem here. I'll make sure to leave all their social profiles down below too, so you can reach out to them whenever. But other than that, thanks again.